Nerd alert!
Hey everybody, this is Sleep Racer with nerdberry.net. Today we're here to take a look at the BlackBerry Q5 versus the Q10 versus the Z10. As you can see, I got them all three laid out right in front of us. So let's kind of take a look at the Q5 starting out. As you can see, the layout is exactly the same as the Q10. Relatively fast. Now I did just set everything up on this device today, but I wanted to kind of give a side-by-side between all three devices. As you can see, charging port is at the top of the device, whereas on the Q it's a little bit set downward from the top. Not much different, but just a little bit. And the Z10 is of course in the middle of the device itself. So let's kind of stack them up and take a look at the ports. You've got the Q5, the Q10, and the Z10 all right there. As you can see, let's take a look at the speakers. Very similar to the Z10 with the little grooves. Of course, you've got that screen right here for the Q10. And the volume rockers. Volume rockers on the Q10 and Z10 are exactly the same steelish aluminum color, whereas the volume rocker on the Q5 is actually all in black. At the top, Q10 and Z10 both look identical. Q5 is a little bit different. They of course are all three kind of raised up a little bit. Let's see if we can kind of get a little angle on that. You can see kind of a little bit of a lip on there. Not much. Of course, your 3.5mm headphone jacks on the Q5, Q10, and Z10. Then one thing that makes the Q5 different than the Q10 or the Z10 for that matter is the fact that it is a sealed unit. You cannot pull the battery door off. Everything's internal. So if you come over here, you can actually see the door where you would put your SIM card and your micro SD card. Currently there is a SIM card and an SD card in there. This is for T-Mobile. The device was sent unlocked to us. And if you look closely, see if I can get a good angle on it. It's even labeled SD card and SIM card here. It is kind of a pain in the butt to put the SIM card in and the SD card. However, taking it out is going to be a lot easier. You can just press on it and it lifts out. And of course, putting them back in is kind of the pain in the butt. But once you get them back in, just close the door up and you're off to the races. As you can see, this one is on T-Mobile. We're running, it just did an OS update, so let me pull up the file. It was running 10.1.0.4181. It was upgraded to 10.1.0.4184. This update, of course, pulled from T-Mobile and added Wi-Fi calling. As you can see, Wi-Fi calling calls can be made over Wi-Fi, open to access preferences. So if I actually turned off the Wi-Fi, this device is already on 4G LTE on T-Mobile. It did take probably about 3 minutes to actually pick up the 4G LTE signal. But once it did that, we were good to go. As you can see, this is the SQR100-1. I believe this is also supported on TELUS, and the same radio bands for LTE here in the States. Keypad between the Q10 and the Q5 are totally different. As you can see, of course you got your Q10 steel bezels going across. whereas there is no steel bezels here. These remind me of the chiclet style keyboards you would find on the older curved legacy devices. However, typing on it so far, I kind of enjoy the Q5 keyboard versus the Q10 to a small degree. Here's why. I like that clicking sound. Q10 does it a little bit, not as much not as much as the Q5. All in all, so far, initial impressions of the device: fast, display is clear. Let's see if we can get a good image of the display side by side between the Q and the Q5. This does have a screen protector on it, so as you can see, pretty decent screen resolution. It does have a front-facing camera as well as your sensors, and you can't really see the sensors, they're over here. Your rear-facing camera with flash. All in all, the Q5, first initial impressions, not a bad device. Can't wait to get to the full review and start using it on a daily basis as my daily driver. Keep it locked to Nerdberry for the full review of the Q5. And this was a look at the Q5, Q10, and Z10 side by side. Sleep Racer out.
Nerd alert!